Been a good 12 hours. It's the next day since I hit this last night. I had to tell you, looking at it again, it's just, oh, it's so nice. This is a really good coverage on this time. And having it feel all brand new again is really nice. The even covering is really good. Now what I'm going to do today is I'm going to check all the spots, make sure I didn't miss anything major, make sure anywhere didn't get a good enough coat, because I've got 2 more bottles before I, undo this again for hopefully the last time. I want to make sure I got everything perfect. And I want to check out a few things right here right now. What I'm going to do especially is I'm going to take out anything like this. I want to take out, see this? This isn't going to be a big deal because this is going to be covered, but there are spots like these in the middle here. I saw this one last night. I'm going to pop this out, and you can see there's a little bit of yellow. That's going to be out, and I absolutely don't want that there, so I'm going to do another coat. And I think it should be okay. I mean, I know it's been 12 hours, but they actually recommend a good, I think it's 72 hours to fully cure this before you do anything with it. And this stuck to the Hercule liner really well, and the Hercule liner was already mostly dry, so I think I can get away with another coat on here. And I don't need to re-sand or anything. This stuff seems to stick pretty good. I haven't had, like I said, peeling issues with this or anything like that. So I think another coat, doing it right now this morning, will be a good idea. And I'm going to start going through, like I said, pulling out these, trying to be careful not to peel it. That's another issue. Something like that. Sometimes you'll peel the edge a little bit. I'm trying to be very careful not to do that. It might even be a good idea between coats, if you're doing flash coats, do the whole thing and then move everything you have. Move everything slightly. These 2 are another spot where it's kind of tough to get proper coverage, but these are exposed. Things like right here, you got these. Like, I don't care if this is like that yellow right there. There's no big deal about that because the seat's going to be on here. It's something you're never going to see. But otherwise, everything is looking really nice here. A spot like this where I went heavy with the Hercule on it because there was rust underneath coming through here. I don't know if that'll stop it. I don't know if more will come back up. But after this is done, I'm going to do some Pour 15 underneath the frame and undercarriage. So don't have to worry about that. Something like this, see, it's a little stuck right here. Got to be real careful. Yeah, see, it already, I think it peeled off some on the bottom right there. So that's unfortunate. This thing is tough. I might, you know what, I might climb up there and tape this so I don't have to worry about this sticking down and sticking to it. A spot like this, luckily, this came out well right here. Get a little bit of yellow near the edge, but the further back you go, because then the seal is going to come back out, should be good. This is really nice. Really, I think it cured on here very well. Got something like this where it was hard to cut off the top of the edge here when this is closed, but I think this is good. We'll get in here. Should be good enough now because I'm going to walk in here anyways. You can see I got a spot of yellow in there, and there's just nothing I can do about that, really. I could not get in there with the brush, and I cannot spray in there because then it starts to overspray on this. So that's not a big deal. I got the most of it. I think the majority of this is really well taken care of. There are some other areas like here. I think when the tape comes back, because I know the console only covers up to like right here, so I think it'll be okay. In here, looks pretty good. It really does. So I'm going to, like I said, take off, move all of these, take off that, be careful with some of the stuff that I think needs to be peeled back so I can see anywhere that may need another coat. And I'm definitely going to hit it at least one more time. Okay, 3rd and final coat, and I think I nailed it. I covered everything really well. I hit all the spots I found. I looked up and down. I checked the whole thing twice. There were a few spots on the roll bar where I'd missed, the front end over here, this piece. And now I think it is 110% covered. I think the coverage is excellent. It looks beautiful. No yellow shining through. Everything is covered up. I even went ahead and hit some of these spots. Now, after doing this twice, I actually have a few tips I want to just point out to anyone else who might do this, or just things I found to be helpful. One thing is you should really go for the interior things. You should really go right up to the line for anything you have up in the front here. Just go right up to the line. You won't regret it later. I actually do recommend getting, if you're going to do a spray on like I did, the spray on you need to do more prep work so there won't be spray over. And I definitely recommend doing the prep work. The first time I did it, I took a whole day of prep work of doing this, literally just masking. Had it 100% perfect. This time I kind of skipped a little bit and I had a spot over there where it kind of shot through under the body. You don't want that. Take the time and do it because then you won't have to worry about a thing while you're spraying. Spraying is cleaner, more even, and took less time. as an effort to spray it on, but the Hercule liner is just going to reach in places that I could not possibly get with the spray gun. Trust me, once all that's there, you cannot get the spray gun up in that angle. It's just, it can't be done. There are certain spots there and other spots here and in the back. So I actually recommend buying both of those, and both of those combined, like a kit, a Rapture liner and a quart of Hercule liner, was more than enough to completely cover the interior of this and cover it well. And they seem to work really hand in hand. They both are the same type of color. They blended in very well with each other. The Hercule liner is a bit thicker, like a little bit chunkier, and this is a little bit smaller with the grit or the texture. But they still go together really well. I like the look, and the decision was excellent. I'm really glad it all worked out. Now, a few other things is with like something like this. You can see I ended up rigging this to the light, so it's hanging off of here. But you know what? It worked out better, and because I was being lazy the other day, I didn't do that, and I paid for it with a little spot there. But that's taken care of now. This will dry nice and even, so I recommend that. If you have this, anyone else should have this, because this is what goes to the tail lights. This is what sends the power to the tail lights. Unfortunately, I also have a hookup for a windshield wiper and cleaner. Like I'm pretty sure it's a cleaner there I have for the back windshield. Well, my hardtop isn't like that. This must have had a hardtop like that at one time, so I guess that's why it's hardwired into it. But if you don't have that for the hardtop, you should just be able to disconnect from here, snake this whole thing out from here, and hang it upright. And that would just, trust me, even when this is done, when I move that again, it's probably going to be stuck a little bit, so that's unfortunate, but I'm really not going to complain about that considering how well everything else has come out. You can just see, I went down here, like I said, I peeled these back, I got the tape in there as best I can, covered that up, getting right up to the edge of the seams. I recommend taking this plate off and covering the actual mechanism, the stuff where the plate would cover, but then hit this too, so you don't want to have any of it not lined once you put everything back together. And this came out so well. Definitely take off the strikers. It's worth it. It's too much of a struggle with them on. Just take them off. It's much easier. And the Q-tips worked in most places. Like here, I didn't really want to cover that up, and a couple other places there. Like there, you see I didn't cover one with a Q-tip. Not a big deal. It's still going to string in. With me, like I said, my brackets are out, so that wasn't a really big deal with the back seat, because mine had just been cut since the last time I did this. But you got a spot like this, and this didn't need to be covered. I decided I should just take the earplug out of here. The earplugs work well, except for everywhere here where I recommend newspaper. If you really want to go the cheap route, you can use crumpled up newspaper, but it tends to leave a little bit of spots where it might catch on, and you don't want that. Also, you got to remember, like spots like this are going to be left open for me, but spots like this, I have a plug, a seal that goes back in here, so it covers up a bit of it. Now, what I got really creative was there are spots like these where you can see I got it really fine. What I ended up doing was I took the earplugs, which, by the way, earplugs work really well. I recommend, I figure buying at least a box of 24 would be good at these. I bought two 12s in the end, and that worked out well, so 24 should suit you well. Now, most of these work really well in the bigger slots where you can go in and they can stick them in and they stay, but some of them kind of stick out too far, and that's why I had some of those pieces that were hanging out. Well, what I did is I just took some of these, chopped some of these, and had half an earplug, and that worked out really well. So if you're finding you have a spot and you're using earplugs, like an earplug will work really well here in a big slot, but in a smaller slot it kind of sticks out. You can't stuff it in to protect the threading on the inside. I recommend cutting it in half and stuffing it in. It worked really well for me. That was a good last minute solution that worked out well, and I don't think I'm going to have any. Yeah, you can already see there was a bit of like yellow that was hanging out off there because it was hanging out. But no, it's all good now. That's all I can say. Otherwise, it's just, the prep work is very important, and then making sure you mask everything off well. I even recommend you don't need to cover up the holes here for the soft top brackets that go here. I just decided to take these out because last time I had Q-tips in here, last two times I took them out, it left a little bit of stuff right there, and I didn't like it, so I just took them out. Spots like that, not a big deal. Basically, anywhere you have threading, anywhere a bolt needs to thread in, like the seats or the brackets for the back seat here, you should definitely cover those up. You don't want this stuff to harden onto the threading. That could cause you a problem. But anywhere you don't have threading, like here, for me, you know what I mean? I don't have threading there. So don't worry about it. Especially these two. I'd covered up these the first time. That was a mistake. I was not happy with the way this came out. So this time I just didn't cover these up, and it won't be a problem at all. I do not see that being a problem. So other than that, this is looking so good. I'm very, very happy. I'm even happier than I was the first time I did this. This has come out looking really, really well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to I'd get a chair, sit down, and admire this for the rest of the day. I really can't wait to take it all off, and hopefully all the tape comes off well. I'm going to wait 12 hours. I think it's something like that. They want you to wait about a day before you take off the tape. And then after 12 hours are done, I'm going to give it another 48 to 72 hours before I even put anything back in. So that's my plan. When I take all the tape off again, I'll show you how things came out. Like over here is a spot I want to see. I want to see how well this ends up being with the console there, and also the tailgate. Once I've done that, I'll show you guys how it looks.